Do you want me to record it?
Okay, there we
Cool.
go. I'll record it.
There you go. Cool. Cool.
Okay, cool. So today we're doing a very special edition of the weekly chat with Kenny. And today I'm chatting to the one and only Michelle McFarlane, who, how do I put it? So I went onto a LinkedIn page to actually see what she calls herself. And I think there's a lot more we should actually add into that, Michelle. So, business strategist, marketing trainer and coach, international speaker, podcast host. I wonder which podcasts those are. Award winning networker, loves growing her and other businesses, owner of hashtag training and Dragon Consulting. And I think the most important part is the leader of my marketing team. Michelle, welcome to
Thanks, Kenny.
this very special edition. So,
Thank you. I feel quite privileged being your first guest on the
yeah,
special edition.
well, if we don't get it going, we'll never will. And that's between you and I, and
Exactly.
everybody else can have a chuckle about that because they can all hear it. Um, yeah, so Michelle, and it's a little bit of a background so everybody can understand. Michelle and I have known each other for, geez, probably 10 years, if not longer.
Close on.
Yeah, we both worked in the same corporate, but opposite ends. And we got to know each other. And I think one of the things that stuck out was that there was no BS between either of us at any stage. It was straight to the point, and I think that's what kind of connected us. I must say, I have the privilege of also being your coach and watching you grow and your business turn into what it is today has just been amazing. So, and hence I said that to put everything that you're good at, etc., into your description. Yeah, we could be here for an hour just going into that detail, but there's no better way than to actually have this podcast and just chat about it anyway. So, there's a lot of marketing companies out there, Michelle. And yeah, COVID has brought out like every Mary and her cat into marketing sphere. Suddenly, because you can do a Canva, you can be a marketing expert. Suddenly, because you figured out how to post on Facebook or Instagram, and now you're a marketing expert. But there's way more behind it. Tell us a little bit about how you do it behind the scenes, for the listeners to really get to understand that it's not just about putting a couple of pictures together and putting a little bit of info on the bottom and adding a couple of hashtags and posting.
Well, my most important thing is you need a plan. So it's like you're going on holiday and you don't know where you're going. You don't know what mode of transport you're using. If you're going in a car, or where are the petrol stations? Can you go where you want to go? What happens if you break down? Where you staying? What do you need when you get there? And people, there are people around the world who kind of get in the car and just go, but they still know that they've got money in the bank and they have a general idea of what they'd like to do along the way. So you need to plan your journey, and marketing is a journey. There's no quick fixes. There's like absolutely no quick fixes. There's any short idea of getting short-term results is like total pie in the sky. And that kind of brings me on to my pet peeve is our cookie cutter silver bullet, buy this and you'll have $1 million business within 6 weeks kind of vibe. And most of those people don't have $1 million business themselves. They just kind of fake it till you make it kind of thing. And whether you've got 1,000 Rand to spend on marketing or whether you're spending 20, 30,000 Rand a month on marketing, you still need a plan. You still need a tailored approach, because even if you are in the same market as your competitors selling the same product, you do it in a different way. What's important to you is a different importance to someone else. And what I always do with people to get to the nitty gritty of what they're about is say, how do you want people to feel when they've interacted with your brand? And that's always my starting questions. How do you want people to feel? Because when you start talking and throwing all that fancy terminology out that ad agencies like to scare you with, so you think you need them, you really don't. If you know who you're talking to, it's having a conversation with a friend that you know really well and helping them solve whatever problems that they have. And I think that's what people overcomplicate marketing.
Michelle, I think you've just hit the nail on the head. Hammer on the head, nail on the head. It's often people go into business in the first place and they actually have no idea who their client's going to be. And I think that's probably the first step they need to really and truly understand before they even try marketing is who they're marketing to. That whole blank canvas, just send it out into the world and hopefully somebody will see it and expect and suddenly they expect people will suddenly start buying from them. Um, I've always seen that people expect they go and put an ad out. Let's say they create a post in Facebook, and they expect people just to be making contact with them and passing money. And I think that whole part about what you're saying, that the brand's got to be a lot more to than just an ad. I mean, marketing and advertising are not the same. Um, and people think they are, but they're different. Anybody can advertise anything. I can go out there and advertise coaching for $20 and I'll have a queue of people wanting to give me $20. But when you go out there and you actually sell what you do and how you do it, and you build a reputation, how and I know you've gone and spent a lot of time and invested a lot of money into your training and your coaching. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. It's because okay, I'm at a disadvantage here, Michelle, because I've been with you on this journey, but and to get it, when you know something so well, you have to really stop and think about, okay, how do I explain this to somebody else? And I think the beauty of it was, well, let me let you to explain. Why did you go to the training?
Yeah.
I think it's easier before I try and make a mess of it.
Well, initially started out obviously doing marketing, but then we realized that specific during lockdown, I mean, lockdown was great for us because everybody who wasn't in the digital space suddenly realized if I'm stuck at home and I can't go and knock on doors, how are people going to know that I even exist? And your average small business owner can't afford your standard out of home, your TV, radio, billboard, street pole ads. Even handing out flyers was a no-go during lockdown. So people started to realize the best way to get inside people's homes when they're stuck there is to be in the digital space. But then everybody, as you said, who thinks I can use Canva and I can buy a package that tells me what to say and the clients will just come in. Marketing is about building long-term relationships, and you're the one who always says someone who buys from you once is not a customer. That's just a sale. That's a once-off. You need customers that are going to keep on coming back for more. That will either, every time you bring out something new, it's like your crazy Apple fans. It doesn't care whether there's absolutely nothing wrong with their phone. They want the new one because they've bought into the lifestyle, the customer experience, and it becomes an ingrained part of who they are. And that's what you need to be as a brand, is you need those raving fans that will, it's not even a second thing. And I sometimes equate this, and if you go into maybe a cheaper retailer to buy fruit and vegetables, you're going to pick up the packets and turn it around and have a look at everything and make sure nothing's front and all that kind of thing. And you're very careful about those decisions. But if you walk into, say, another retailer, for example, not to name any, but say Woolworths, for example, people tend to go there and yes, they'll pay a premium, but they can walk in and just pick up stuff and put it in the trolley. They don't have to second guess because they trust the supply chain, they trust the quality control, they trust that there's not going to be things rotting on the shelves because those shelves are cleaned out every day. And you're paying for the experience and you're paying for the trust. And it's that trust relationship. People are short on time. They don't have time to start second guessing every decision. They just want to have a go-to person they know that gets what they do, understands what they want, and go after that. But not everybody can afford a marketer to do it for them. And I love teaching what I know, and I don't believe that you ever lose anything, even if you teach a client every single thing that that is kind of your intellectual property or how you do things. I don't think you ever lose, because my coaching clients will go through the 10-week program with me, and I think I have one person who didn't come back and say, and that person already had some marketing experience. everybody else came back and said, that's great, I understand it, this is brilliant, now you do it. So I lost nothing by teaching them everything I know.
You
But
know,
they trust me now and they understand it.
Michelle, and that's
Yeah.
the beauty of, I think, and but it's part of who you are, and I think that's what people really need to understand is you don't keep secrets. You share, and you give,
Mm.
and it's just who you are, and probably why we resonate as well so well is you there and you generally help people and you share, and I know, I mean, we've overlapped a lot in the training of each other over the time.
Mm.
And hell, I'd rather you did it than I do it, but I need to understand what it is you're doing. And I need to
Yeah.
buy into the bigger picture of it. And I think that's the part of your training that works so well is people go and they actually understand what it is that and how complicated it can be and yet how simple it can be when you do it right. And yeah, I agree. Learn how to do it, understand how to do it, be coached by people like you, and let people like you do it anyway. But once they understand it, they appreciate more what you do.
They totally do, but and I also think everybody actually is a marketer at the end of the day. All you've got to do is get to know your customer so well that it's like having a conversation with somebody, with a friend, and you'll sit and go, okay, well, you get stupid TikTok videos, and I'll go, I'm going to send this to Ken, and I already know you'll like it, or this is not appropriate, or this is disrespectful, or because I know you so well that I know what I send you, you're going to laugh at. I had a big laugh the other day, and both of us have a lot of life coaches, and we love our life coaches. But I saw a meme the other day that was the guy says, don't do stupid shit. There, I'm your life coach. And I knew out of all my clients who I could send that to and who wouldn't take it well. And it's sometimes it's got nothing to do with your sense of humor. It's just understanding what makes people tick and really getting behind things. And people post stuff without thinking. I've had one client specifically where, and this is my pet peeve, especially with my international clients, if you want to break into the South African market, don't use images off Canva of African Americans. And it sounds silly, but it's very disrespectful to think that all black faces look the same, because they don't. You can tell if somebody is from Ireland, Scotland, the UK, just by the way they dress, the way they look. And it's got nothing to do with being racist. It's you've got to put stuff and help your audience identify something in that picture. They need to see themselves in it. And I think that's a lot with leadership and with setting examples for children. By you going out there and being it. And my daughter actually showed me a post. She was featured at work for Women's Day last year, and she only showed me the article this year. And the quote was that she used was one that I'd given her. And it says, give as much as you can, but take no shit. And the fact that that actually stuck with my child, where she says she hasn't missed out by having a full-time working mom. She says she's learned how to juggle. She's learned confidence. She's learned resilience. She's learned how to fit everything in and just have a brilliant work ethic. And that she's got by example. And I think that's the same thing with marketing. You've got to put yourself out there, show what you stand for, show what your values are, and the right people will come to you. There's nothing worse than attracting a client that you just don't gel with, because it derails everything.
So here's an interesting fact, Michelle, is before I sign any clients, I share with them my values. I've actually got them on a template. I already sent it out to them because, and when I meet with them for the first time, majority of my whole session, I get to understand what their values are. Interesting, I had a new client that signed up, and their first bit of homework was to go and write their values down. And you know what it's like in the beginning when you try and write your values, you write the biggest load of hogwash. You expect those values to fit the marketing image, okay? But they're not real. And I have such a jaw on the very first couple of sessions is getting them to actually understand what those values are. And it's the same in marketing, because if somebody posts a whole lot of hogwash, you can see right through it. You can see they're bullying, that they talking the biggest load of nonsense because they are not living up to their promise. And like that, you've lost trust. And marketing is about trust, as you made the
Totally.
example of
Yeah.
going for fruit and vegetables. I mean, if the
Mm,
trust is not there, why would you even go back?
yeah. And if someone sees the value in what you're doing and you as a marketer can communicate that value and show the problems that you can solve and why you can solve it better in a way that suits them, doesn't mean you can solve it better than everybody, but your particular solution solves it better for that specific person, then people will buy from you and they'll find the money. It's important. If you go and have a look at people, and this is an extreme example, but think about it in the business context. If your child is sick, you will find the money. If your child wants a new toy, you're going to think twice before you do stuff like that. And the only difference is value, is what is really, really important, and is it worth investing the money? And people will then find the money. That objection to any sale is normally not the true objection. You will have people who genuinely cannot afford what you are selling, but they will still see the value and they will tell you that. People who come back and say, no, I can't afford it, there's some other underlying issue. And I always like doing that persuasion exercise. So people have got the problems and concerns, they will happily tell you, but they have a whole lot of unspoken, hidden problems or desires that they're not going to tell you out of embarrassment or fear of being judged, or they feel guilty being in that space. And if you can actually get to the bottom and understand them and actually connect with them on that level, you'll have a client for life. It doesn't matter what you do, they'll always be there.
And that's not the easiest thing in the world to do. I mean, I know from my side as well, to get through to those
Mm,
that underlying challenge, that underlying blockage, that underlying perception of what it is you do.
mm, mm.
So, if I had to ask you top three things, let's say I've just started a business and I know I need to get into the marketing world, and I've been dabbling around in doing my own little posts, etc., etc. What would be the top three things that a business owner should be looking for in a marketing company? And I'm doing that in inverted brackets because there's different levels of marketing companies. But to get going.
I think the most important is someone that understands what you do. And I have clients that do stuff where it's a complete learning exercise, but you need someone who is going to invest the time to understand what it is you do, even if it's at a surface level. I have a client who does taxonomy, and it's almost library science in a digital space. So she says she helps humans find things in digital spaces. So that's what she does. But it's taken me a long time to actually get to know her and understand her. Whoever's doing your marketing needs to understand you, and they also need to understand the kind of people that you want to attract. Because if they don't understand those people, they can't go find them. So you need someone who's, first of all, is invest time to get to know you. If they're taking over from you or another marketer, make sure that there's a proper handover process in place, and that you make sure you're all on the same page. You taught me this, that managing a client's expectations is really important, not just from a perception of what work product you're going to deliver, but the results you're going to deliver, and that it's over a specific period of time. You also need to have someone who's going to come back and say to you, that won't work, and turn around, because there's no point. Clients want to go after a specific client. Here's the budget, and you just take the money and you go ahead and put those adverts out on Google. You're not going to get the results. You've done the work, but you know damn well they're not going to get the results. You need someone who's not scared to walk away from the business and say to you, I'm not going to take your money to do that because it's not going to work. And I think that's what you need to understand. And yes, it's sometimes agencies are maybe desperate, or they want to take on all the work, or yeah, you need to have a human-centered approach. So somewhere in your marketing agency, you need someone that is not just technical. So lots of people can do beautiful images, lots of people can write, lots of people can build a website. But what is the customer experience? How, is that journey being, they need to understand all your points. So there's so much more to it. And that's why I like to get customers to do touch point maps and make them go and brainstorm every possible way someone could find out about them. And that's from a networking event to whatever, and you just pull them in. So you need someone who's going to take the time to get to know your business and be a partner in your business, not someone who just wants to do stuff for you.
I think
that's what it all boils down to.
There's this big myth in the business world that a marketing agency is going to make me money. Instant customers banging on my door. Why do you think that myth came into place? Because the reality is no, that it's not going to happen that way. It takes a lot of time. It's about building who you are, etc. But anyway, before I answer, you answer
it. I think there are a lot of people out there who have jumped on the bandwagon, that kind of heroine approach to sales. I find it very unethical, where you get the guys to get people in a room or get them on an online event, and it's all this big rah-rah hype, get everybody up and excited to a point that they're going to part with money, which, that's just, it's just not an ethical way of marketing. And it is just wrong. They make it sound so easy, and they make it sound like this is it, and we will give you the emails and the pictures and the posts and the this and the that, and go and do it. And they don't care what kind of business you've got or who they want to. They're basically saying it's a one size fits all. And we have a mutual connection who does plus size in the plus size clothing space, and she says it's a shape, not a size. And there isn't a one size fits all, not even, it's just, there isn't a cookie cutter approach. There isn't a quick fix. And people think it's easy. And there's too many people out there selling these quick fixes. And I think a lot of people end up in the small business space or being self-employed in almost in a very desperate situation. Not many people take the conscious decision to turn a side hustle into a business, or to leave a job and start a business. Most small business owners have started out of retrenchment or losing their job, or the economy, lockdown, all those kind of things. And people who then prey on people in a desperate time where they should be being very mindful of how they spend their resources are just awful. And I don't like that. I would rather you don't need a fancy website to start out unless you're on e-commerce, unless you're selling stuff online. You can do a beautiful landing page for a fraction of the price, and when you're ready, go and do it. People can make you and charge you the earth for a website, and does it actually do what you want to do? Does it appeal? Yes, it's technically great, but it takes forever to load. Do they care? No, they don't. They sold you a website. So I think people need to know where to start when starting a business, and don't blow all your money. You need to take risks, but be mindful what you spend it on.
You're making me laugh here, because I see it every day. I see it all the time. I get a new inquiry, and people, they're interested in coaching, and they're very proud. They put their website link into the documents and the forms, and you go have a look at it and you go, gee whiz, for the amount of money it just cost you now, I could have coached you for the next 6 months and we could have really made a difference. Because there's no direction, there's no end result, there's no point of even having it. Because what is a website for most businesses? It's either A, to sell product online, or B, make people aware that you actually exist and what your offers are, and to get them to say, hey, I'm interested. I
Mm.
I got to share this. So he has an ideal marketing disaster never to do. Okay, sorry, I'm giving more marketing today than you. Um, I'm not going to mention names. I'm not going to do anything like that. Okay, so there's this company that offers a service, and they have a it's 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 actually only a landing page. Okay, it's not a complete website, and they ask you on there for more information. Click here. So click it, and it asks for all my information. I loaded it all, put it all in, and behold, about 4 hours later, I received an email back from them, not with any more information that was on that original page. It was almost like a copy and paste. And if I wanted more information, click here again. And I thought to myself, how the hell are they ever going to make any money? Because people go online and they look for stuff because they're looking for info. They want to add info to making a buying decision. Because nowadays nobody just goes in to a company they never heard of before and part their money with them. Okay, well, maybe some people are crazy enough to, but majority no. So you got to build trust. You got to build that you actually show people that you actually do know what you're doing. Be the expert. If you can't, there's no point in copying and pasting exactly the same thing. If you need to say, rather just say phone me, or give me your number and I'll phone you, so you can do it. Instead of, and I can see they've been to a marketing company, and the marketing company is trying to make it all pretty. I mean, their page looks stunning. Okay, with all the flashing things going off on the page and etc. But you asked me to take action. I took action, and you gave me Zippo back. What was the point? There was no proper planning to this thing. There's no end result to it. There's no goal of what are you doing in the future. It's like you're trying to make a quick buck out of me. And guess what? I'm looking for. And so that's just, that example is what I see every day. It's out there, and we've got to stop that. Let people market.
And I think a big thing people need to understand in marketing, it's not about being perfect in your marketing. It's about being consistently good and improving consistently. Nobody, if it's, wants absolute perfection, they don't expect that from smaller business owners. Yes, if you've got millions of rands as a marketing budget, people are going to expect it to be absolutely amazing, but you've got to do the best you can do with what you have. And that's why you actually need to speak to someone who's actually started a business. And as I say, not started a business, a sustainable business.
Correct.
Because lots of people say, I've started lots of businesses. Anybody can start a business. You can start a formal business. You can log on to CIPC and, 2 days later, less than $200, you started a business. But is it sustainable? Are you still going to be around in 3 years' time? And what's the best way of doing it? And if you don't map out the cash flow, and I think that's why a lot of what we do is very different, is that our team has a vast amount of experience, but being an accountant and an auditor, and having been a management consultant in a business and had my own management consultant businesses, where people go wrong. You understand the repercussions of a bad customer experience, and you've just got a better understanding of how to manage your cash flow. And at the end of the day, it's not sales that drive a business, it's cash flow. If you can sell $1 million, if nobody pays you, it's pointless. So there's a whole lot of things. You have to look a very holistic approach with marketing, and it's got to be a key driver. And you'll see everybody, I'll go to the bank and I want an investor and I need an overdraft facility and I want a business plan. And I'm going, okay, so 12, 15,000 Rand. And they go, what? I just want a business plan. And I'm going, yes, but your critical part of a business plan is the route to market. And people don't care about the numbers because it's a thumbs up. It's just a projection, maybe based on some research. If you've done some research, you know what you're selling. Yes, we know what you're talking about. Here's the product price, all of that other stuff, and but how are you going to get people to buy it? And that route to market is the biggest gap in everybody's business plans that they want to do. And it takes time to put that together because you've got to know the audience. And if you're not the expert and you don't know the business, you've got to go and actually find that information.
Well,
and make sure you're positioning yourself differently.
when you talk business plans, I mean, when people told me they have a business plan, I don't even want to see it. I'd rather we start with, eh, I think, by now, I start with the end in mind and we work backwards and we put the plan on how the hell you're going to get there. And exactly the same in the marketing plan. I think the one point I wanted to go back to, Michelle, and I think maybe just to clarify it for those that are listening, is your outcome of everything you do has to be decided before you do it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know what the outcome needs to be, how do you even know if it works?
Hmm.
So
In
if
fact,
I
if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there.
exactly, so who you marketing to? Anybody and anybody and everybody, and yeah, even if you said Uncle Bob's dog Pete, well, at least then we know who we're marketing to. But when you have anybody and everybody, well, you're never going to get anywhere.
And even if you can, I mean, if you've got a pen, technically you could sell that to anybody and everybody. But, what is unique about the pen over other pens, and who is it going to appeal to? A pen is a pen. Is it a big pen? Is it a Mont Blanc? You need to understand who you're going after. And even if you can sell it to a lot of people, I will make people in the first 90 days is brand reinforcement. You're building trust and get people to recognize you. Is you don't go, I won't even let them do customer descriptions or personas for more than 3 customers in the first 90 days. Pick only 3 people, and we drill down into those details, and we only go after those 3 people, one in the first 3 months. And then it teaches people to focus their marketing, understand the messaging, and also if something works, this pen sells to that audience.
Correct.
We've tested, we've measured, it works. Let's go try the next audience. Then the next month, all your marketing's focused on the next one and you sell nothing. Okay, this is not our audience, or our messaging's wrong, or it's the wrong kind of product. And then you can have a look at it and understand, do we throw it out or do we adapt? Then you do the next one. And in 90 days, 3 customers is enough to get you off the ground. Even if you're a consultant or a coach with 3 small customers, it's enough to get you off the ground.
Spot on. And the other thing that I've picked up when people market is they try to market everything that they do, every product they offer, all in one go. I mean, sometimes you see these ads or marketing that goes out, and it's just so busy. There's no clarity. There's no, what are you specializing? What makes you unique? Why should I be buying from you? They forget that. Because what they don't get is, well, if you can stand out for that one thing or that one product or that one offering, guess what? They'll get in touch, and then they can see all the other stuff that you offer afterwards. But what's that lead? What's that thing that gets you going, that goes, yeah, I want it. But they try to be like all these big brands who can go out and put a whole full page splash out. But it's not, marketing in digital is not a pamphlet that you'll get in the local newspaper where you can put 50 items in there. No, you got to make something different and make something stand out. I often say to people, give me a brand, and why do you remember that brand? You used the example of Apple earlier. Well, why does Apple stand out? Most people say to you the phone. They won't tell you the laptop, the iPad, the
watch,
the watch.
the map.
No, it's the phone. The phone is what drives their market. That's their key to market. The rest of it is, let's get you addicted to the phone, because once you're addicted to the phone, well, you will start collecting the rest as your life goes along.
Exactly.
That's exactly what they do. They don't go out there and say, buy the phone, buy the iPad, buy the watch, buy the iMac, buy the laptop. They're not trying to do that. They just pick one item and just go with it. Boom, boom, boom.
I try and get new business owners to focus on what is the low-hanging fruit. What's the easiest to convert? Where do people already know you or know your product? At what price point were those conversions due? Because ideally you want your marketing in the long run to become a self-funding exercise. And it's not a question of you can necessarily track, I do this and I do that. It's not selling baked beans in a tabloid in the local newspaper. It isn't. That's advertising. That's not marketing.
Exactly.
You're doing a specific program, process to do that. But what are the low-hanging fruit, and we go after those customers first? Because what it does, not just, and now I'm going to sound like a life coach, it doesn't just create money, but it drives confidence of the business owner in your ability and in themselves. And they start to realize, okay, this is going to work. And then it does make it much easier to niche down. And when you go and look, okay, these 3 customers have brought you in this much money, do you still want to go after that other thing? Or do you still want to do that? Or do you still want to do this? There's so many people that want to jump on the bandwagon, and because everybody else is doing it. And COVID, face masks and hand sanitizer, how many people made money and how many people just got burnt and lost money because everything was right at the beginning, low-hanging fruit, everybody was out there. And then once everybody jumped on the bandwagon and everybody calmed down a bit, then it was like you stuck with all the stuff you bought at a premium price, and now there's too much competition, so you can't sell it for what you bought it for. So you need to understand, you want to niche down and sell something that is unique for a person. As soon as what you're selling becomes a commodity, everything is driven by price. And then it's who's got the biggest budget wins. It's and you can't compete at that kind of level. You don't want to commoditize what you do. Nobody walks into a Ferrari dealership and asks how much the car costs. No. And that's what you rather need to do. It shouldn't be about price. It should be, the value, and even if that driver is, I want to look cool for my friends, there's still a reason, so I think don't go after the commodities. Don't go after stuff that other people will do. You'll get marketing courses who will say this works for anything, or how to create an online business. It doesn't matter what business, just find something and sell it online. It's not going to be fun after a while. And marketing's supposed to be the fun side of your business. It's, everybody's creative somewhere along the line.
You're making me laugh. I mean, when I became a coach, I started looking at all these different coaches, the coaches that coach the coaches, and none of them actually coach. They just sell you a cookie cutter. That's all they're doing. And yet they're making millions by doing it. But what's the long term? Those people have to continuously be trying to find new gaps in the market, trying to find new opportunities that they can go in and suck it out and get out before they get into too much trouble. And I hope I'm not offending anybody by saying that, but that's the reality. People who claim those, hey, come along, we'll show you how to earn a 7-figure income. And I kind of go, well, show me your 7-figure income, and then I'll believe you. But that's just another form of marketing, but it's not honest marketing, and it's not something that people should go. But people should be aware of that. There is that opportunity. They can do that in marketing, but I know you wouldn't coach them. You wouldn't train them. You wouldn't market.
No. And my other thing with training courses is you don't know what you don't know until you try and do it yourself. So you can go and attend a training, and if you are and there's brilliant marketing training out there, there's brilliant free marketing training out there. You can use a ton of stuff, but what do you do when you need to ask questions? So even with us, with all of our programs, all people who do stuff with us, we always keep the lines of communication open. And I think that's important no matter what you're selling to someone. You can't go in and sell them something and go, I've got your money now, go away and leave me alone. I'm not interested. Whereas if you keep those lines of communication open and someone can ask you a quick question and you can give them a quick WhatsApp answer, or jump on a phone call, or maybe help them. Yes, it's costing you time. Yes, they haven't paid you for it. But at the end of the day, it's building that trust relationship. And when they're ready to move to the next level, they're either going to come back and buy another training course from you, or buy another product from you, or give you the full gambit of what they're doing, because now they want to focus on what they're good at, and they don't need to necessarily keep that in-house for now. You've got to keep those lines of communication open. And that's why I think, as you said right at the beginning, how should you choose a marketing agency? Even if it's a marketing training or it's a marketing agency, keep someone who you can still get hold of after the fact. So you've tried to do it, and it's a bit like another client of mine is a maths professor, and he says he teaches it for understanding, because often people go, they suck at maths, and all it can be is you missed one day, one concept didn't gel, and that little missing link is unhinged everything that you learn after that. Whereas if you can pick up the phone and go, okay, I'm stuck here, and somebody says, this is where you need to go, this is how you sort that, everything else just falls into place. So if you want to be ethical about marketing, even if a client has moved on, moved up, all those kind of things, or then got so big that they've got their own marketing department, don't be offended if they pick up the phone to ask you a question or need help with something, because at least they still remember and trust you and know that you will care enough to help them, whether you're getting paid or not. Build relationships, and your business takes care of yourself. None of us are here alone on the planet. And our business started with one client, and every single thing has been a referral. We market, we absolutely do, but actual advertising, very little, unless we're trying and testing something new. Everything is one client tells another client tells another client. It's all because of good experiences.
And relevance. And that's what
Yeah,
you need
totally.
for your brand.
Yeah.
You've got to keep your brand to be relevant all the time. And
Yeah.
that's what's important.
Yeah.
I mean,
you just need to keep up to speed with everything, and just, teach people stuff. Now, I've got clients that finished their coaching last year already, but I'll see something that, this may be of interest. Go check this out, or this is good, or that's good. And people value that, and it just keeps the lines of communication. And for any business owner should do that, because you never know when it's staying top of mind. You never know when they might need you.
Michelle, to sum it up is, I think the one thing that makes you stand out as Michelle, that makes Dragon Consulting stand out, that makes Training Hashtag stand out, and that is you guys practice what you preach through and through.
Absolutely.
And and I think kudos to you guys. I mean, how big is your team now?
8, and we're interviewing 3 new people this week. So yes, 8 in 4 years.
In 4 years. And that's growth, and that's continuous growth and development and trust, and really proud of what you've done.
Thank you. Couldn't have done it without you too. But it's important to understand that anybody can do it if you just focus on the end goal and say, tie everything to what you want to achieve in your life, not money. That look at your long term, where do you want to be, and okay, where does the business need to be to get me there? And that's how you then focus. And I mean, we've just moved halfway across the country, but the team kept it going. And yes, we kept in touch with our clients, and we did what we needed to do, but we weren't working our usual hours. But we have a team that actually cared enough that we just said to them, okay, we can't be online these 2 days, so can I put everybody in touch with you? And they're people that you can trust. You don't have to say, if so-and-so does this thing, you must do this. You just say, I'm putting them in touch with you, and you trust them because they're your people and they share your values, that they will do the right thing, and have the communication open. If they don't know, they ask. There's no stress. And we have an awesome team of people who genuinely care about what we do. And it's so much fun working with them.
The interesting thing is they share your values.
Absolutely. Otherwise, it wouldn't work.
Exactly.
Yeah, it wouldn't work.
One last tip of advice for everybody, Michelle.
If you don't know, ask. Don't be afraid to look stupid. Don't be afraid to say, I don't know, I'll go find out. I do that all the time. Social media comes out and changes so often. I can't keep on top of every single platform all the time, but I know where to find the right information or find someone to actually teach you. So don't be afraid. Check your ego at the door, and ask. That's how we got chatting. I was doing promos on taps and didn't know when I started there, one tap from a pillar tap from a this tap from that. And I said, okay, well, can you teach me this? And you said, come spend the day in the warehouse.
Yeah.
And the understanding of the logistics and getting to know the people and the supply chain. And you learn a huge amount of stuff. And it was because I wasn't like, I'm going to look like an idiot if I go and say, I don't know what this is. Nobody expects you to start something new and know everything. But if you don't ask, you're the idiot, because you're never going to learn. So like, don't be afraid to ask for help.
You just reminded me of the advice you asked me, what do I need to do for that day? And I just said dress warm.
Exactly. A warehouse in the middle of winter. But yeah, and I think that's the important thing is you can learn from everybody. Even some of my best ideas have come from the most junior people that I've ever worked with, and people who haven't necessarily finished school, but they work with the products every day. They work with the customers every day. So, don't discount anybody. And my dad always taught me is that you treat the cleaner with as much respect as you treat the CEO, because you can learn from everybody that comes into your life.
There's no difference between them.
No,
There's
absolutely nothing. Yeah. And don't try to be something you're not. It's fine.
Be real, be genuine. If you don't know, say you
Yeah.
don't know.
It's exhausting trying to be something you're not. So you can just be yourself. It's easy.
Because if people don't resonate with you, well, then they're not going to resonate with you no matter what you do.
No,
So,
exactly. So that's the important thing is don't be scared to admit when you don't know something, because at least you can learn and move on.
thank you, Michelle. Thank you for being the test dummy for our very first special edition of the weekly chat. And
Thank you.
I'm super excited to keep working with you. And I know we still got a long journey ahead. And
Oh, absolutely.
the
Yeah.
and once again, thank you so much for being my back end and back support in the weekly chat with Kenny. Yeah, great example of what we're doing and a good understanding of where we're going.
Exactly. And growing a business together, which is that's what it's all about.
Michelle, how do people get hold of you?
The best way is to give me a shout on WhatsApp. The numbers for overseas people +27, but normally 081 013 6388, or connect with me on LinkedIn. It's my absolute favorite. Yes, we're everywhere else, but LinkedIn's where you're going to find me most of the time.
Thank you, Michelle. Have an
Thanks,
awesome
Kenny.
day. Ciao.